Yo, what's good? Welcome back to another episode of the Music Is My Business podcast, live Q&A. Shout out to everybody in the stream so far. Let me see who we got in the building. Let me know where you're from. Let me know what you do. I see a few of y'all already in the joint, ready to get to it. Isomatic, what's good? I see you. Sebi Beats in the building. What's good, Sebi? We got Juan Martin. Raymond, what's good? Kayla in the building. Team Dope, I see you. Let's get it, man. Let me see who else we got in the building. Drop something in the chat so that I know you're here. Man, it's Wednesday. It's hump day, midweek. So if you made it this far, you're doing something right. All right. Let's go. Shay Keys, I see you. What's good? Juan Martin, what's up? 9 DM Beats, watching the TV instrumental breakdown course as we speak. Let's go. How to structure instrumentals for TV course. Man, listen, I wish so much that something like that was around when I got started, bro. Cause like I literally struggled for years because there was no course on structuring music for TV. And it's like, you know, just learning those little things can greatly increase the chances of your music actually getting placed, actually getting accepted by music libraries. And it's crazy because you'll pitch. And, you know, I mean, they just don't have time to like break this stuff down. So I'm glad that these courses are helping you guys. Shout out to the Road to 10 Placement students and everybody who enrolled in the How to Structure Instrumentals for TV course. Glad it's helping, man. Hopefully that shortens the learning curve dramatically and can get you to your first placement a lot quicker than it took me to get to my first TV placement. Zim Zada, what's good? Good to see you. Team Dope in the building. Keys Royal, what's good? RWJ all day. Another Team Dope member in the building. What's good? Greetings from Bulgaria. Currently working on a sports cue. I love it. I love sports cues. They just, I don't know. It's just something about cues for sports. Every time I've worked on a brief for like sports music, like, yeah, it ends up kind of getting used for sports, but then it easily crosses over into reality TV and all of that stuff. So it ends up getting used, you know, in more ways than once. I know, man, like the placement that we broke down last week, that one was originally for a sports brief, and it's on BET and CBS, like Good Morning CBS or something like that, and then the America in Black BET series, new BET series. So you just never know where this stuff ends up. It's crazy. Creation Roll Music, Team Dope, I see you. What's good? Patty P. Team Dope is heavy in the building today. Shout out to all the channel members in the building. I see you guys. If you want to become a channel member and get access to behind the scenes videos and, you know, me working on actual briefs and breaking stuff down, then go ahead and become a member. The link to that is in the description. So yeah. Yo, what's up, Frank? I see you. The Bureau, what's good? I will be getting Road to 10 placements next week. Let's go, Devon. Welcome to the Road to 10 placements. Exactly, the missing piece that kind of removes the mystique of it all. Exactly, man, because like it's like, you know, this mysterious thing of what works for TV, and you know, mind you, like the structure that I use isn't the only end all be all structure for, you know, TV cues, right? Like you can modify it. Sometimes I'll modify it. I, you know, may switch a verse around or a start with the chorus versus the verse. You know, so there's different ways you can kind of tweak it and modify it depending on what you need, how long the track needs to be. But it is a proven structure that just works, and you know, you use the elements that are in that, and it's gonna increase your chances, man. So it makes a difference. Let's see who else we got. We got Michael Connor in the building. I see you. A Major Keys, what's good? Always rocking the beard. You already know, man. It's Beard Gang. It's Beard Gang. So drop your questions, man. Let's dive into some questions. Let's talk about sync. Let's talk about production. Let's talk about business. Let's talk about whatever y'all want to talk about, man. I'm here. Y'all got me for the next hour. I see y'all got the memo too, because I had to shift the time. I had to shift the time this week, and then next week I think we're shifting the time again. So me and the wife, we're like juggling meetings and business calls and stuff like that. So we was just like, okay, how can we make this work while still being parents at the same time? So every now and then we got to shift some things around. So that's what that's about. So next week, I think we're gonna do 3:00 again next week, and then I think we'll be back. Well, shoot, depending on. No, I think we'll be back. No, actually, because I got another group for the TV placement mastery, my mentorship program starting up, and it's on a Wednesday, which that wouldn't affect the live Q&A, but it may affect the live music reviews. I'm sorry, y'all. So I'll let y'all know though. Road to 10 placements is a success vibe. Let's go. I love it. What motivates you when starting a project? The brief and the possibility of getting a placement. I am just, I don't know, man. I don't personally need motivation to work on a project and to see a project through. And I think that comes with like just years of just repetition, mastering the craft, and just knowing what needs to be done. So every time I don't know, man, like it's just, I get the brief, this is what's needed, and then I just sit down and knock it out. So, I don't necessarily need like any motivation starting a project. It's like, if it's something I want to do, I'm gonna say yes to it. If it's something I don't want to do, I'm gonna say no. That way, like, I don't have to dig deep to find motivation, working on something that I should have said no to begin with. So, at this point, it's just like, like I'm not gonna work on something I don't want to work on, because it's just a waste of time. I don't want to waste time. So that's how I kind of approach it, man. Say no to stuff that doesn't serve you, or your creativity, and then say yes to the stuff that sounds interesting to you, that feels like it's gonna push, what you're trying to do forward. So that's my approach. Yeah, that I love that. Motivation is loving what you're doing. It shouldn't feel like a job. Yeah, man. And it's when you love what you do, it, even when it's like challenging and you're deep into revisions and like the communication may be, kind of breaking down between, you and the client, the love of it, it's like the perspective I have is, okay, if I'm going to be in a situation where I'm frustrated, not necessarily stressed out. I don't really get stressed out when I'm, create music. But if I'm in a situation where I'm frustrated or things aren't going right and I'm having to solve a lot of problems and work through a bunch of things, I'd rather be doing that with music than to be doing that with something else that I'm not passionate about or that I, just not interested in. So that's the perspective I have when I'm working through stuff. I have to sneeze and it's not coming out, and I'm waiting, and I feel like the more I talk, the more I feel that sneeze tickle, and it is not it's not coming out. What's up, Lamar? Where can I listen to more sports music? Because it would be really helpful to learn from something already used. Listen, dude, people keep asking me this. This is what I'm gonna do for y'all. Cause y'all be rocking with me, and I want y'all to hear examples. I am going to put together a playlist. I'm gonna create a disco playlist of tracks that have gotten placed that I've produced personally. I may try and put in the notes like where it got placed or something like that. But I'm gonna create a playlist, and then I'm gonna put it in my link in bio, clintproductions.com/link in bio, so that you can go through and listen and study or whatever those tracks, because the crazy thing about like what we do, I create a lot of music, right? But like it's spread out against like a bunch of different libraries. So like I would be shooting you links to like all types of different places. It would just be so just weird to try and navigate all that. So I'm gonna like go through, just go through royalty statements, see what tracks have gotten placed, and just upload them, create a playlist, and then you guys can like listen to that and reference it. So drop some fire emojis if you feel like that'll be helpful for you. Because I've been seeing that question a lot. So yeah, another great point. Team Dope, also watch some sports. There you go. Watch those pregame shows, halftime shows, postgame shows, highlights on ESPN. All of that stuff is going to leave clues as to what's working. Because if you're listening to it, it's working because you're listening to it, along with a bunch of millions of other people. How many placements do you think you have? I have no idea. That's like, I know last year I had like over 100 just last year alone, that I know of. Like, this is just stuff that like, between CSAC and TuneSat, and I don't have nearly, my whole catalog uploaded on TuneSat, but over 100 that I know of just last year. So like total, I have no idea. I have no clue. And I feel like there should be, I don't know, man. Like there's no easy way to track it. I think ASCAP probably does. And I don't know if they like keep all of the cue sheets. I think they do. Like in your ASCAP account, I feel like as cue sheets come in, they just accumulate and you can just kind of see it. CSAC doesn't do that. Like you get a cue sheet for like per quarter. So like once the quarter's over and you've gotten paid your royalty check, then it starts over and they just show you the cues that'll be like on your next future royalty statement or something like that. So it's like it doesn't just stack and accumulate. So you don't accumulate. I can't say accumulate today. So I don't know. Let's see. To be more professional, should I go by my real name when it comes to sync? I normally go by it's a Picasso when I create beats for artists. I think to simplify things as far as like writers splits and stuff and your PRO information, I think is best to go with just your normal name, because it just makes everything simple, I feel like. So then when you're if they're looking you up and they're registering things with the PRO, they just know your name. It's like it's your name. Sometimes it could create confusion, but I also know artists, they have artist monikers that they go by. So like everything they release is under that name. But as a producer, a composer in this space, I just go, I don't even have a stage name or anything or a producer there. I just go by my regular name. So yeah, I think it's easier. I think it's easier from a, producer perspective. So, all right, I'm seeing fire emoji, so it seems like a good idea. We'll definitely have to do that. No doubt, man. Good to see you. ASCAP, you can see your cue sheets. Yeah. Are those your sync libraries? I'm not sure. I understand. You see the cue sheet before you get paid at ASCAP. Yeah, and then do they keep them, like once you get paid for those cue sheets? Do they keep the cue sheets listed in your account so you can like always go back and reference them? I am KBS. What's good? How important is it to keep your publishing? So if there's like, I don't know if you're referring to like publisher share of performance royalties. If that's what you're referring to, because usually when you sign to a library, they take 100% publisher share of royalties. You keep 100% writer share royalties. The importance of keeping that 100% of performance or that other half of performance royalties is, it's as important. I think you have to look at it as, if you know how to plug your music and you have relationships with music supervisors, then there's no point of you giving that away when you can give it directly to a supervisor, directly to an editor, or whoever's working on placing music in a particular project. If you have the connects to be able to directly place it, then it doesn't make sense for you to, say, here's that half of performance royalties, that publisher share. But if you don't have those connections, you don't have the direct connections and relationships and things like that will allow you to keep 100% publishing, or if you don't work with sync agents who may allow you to keep 100, the publisher share of royalties and writer share of royalties, then it works to your advantage to split that joint. Like, because at the end of the day, it's 50-50 still, like there's technically like 200%, in royalties, 100% writer share, 100% publisher share. At least that's how, depending on who you're registered with, sometimes it breaks down to 100 depending on the PRO. But essentially, it still breaks down to being 50-50. So the publisher publishing, then I feel like it's fair for them to get 50%, because publishing ain't easy. Like, it's the admin work that comes with that. The relationship building that comes with that, the relationship nurturing that comes with that. There's a lot that comes with it. Whereas you can sit in your studio, create however often you want to create, and once it's done, you just send it to them, and then they take it from there. You just sit, wait for your royalty checks to come in. I think that's a pretty good deal. So that's how I view it. But some people get caught up on, like, I'm trying to own everything. Like, I need it all. It's like, all right, well, you got 100% of a grape while we sitting over here eating 50% of an entire watermelon. I think I said that last week, used that analogy. That's how you got to think about it, man. Because the publisher is going to be able to get that music in a lot more hands than you would trying to do it yourself, especially if you're trying to build this while you're working a day job, that's how I started. Like, I ain't have time to be sitting out here, and it's a lot. So I was just like, you know what? I'm going to hit these companies up who already got the relationships. I'm going to do what I do best and let them do what they do best. So that's that. And then they need publishing rights to be able to publish it and license it and things like that. So that's all it is. And then if you want it back, if you want to do something later, usually in these deals, after a certain amount of years, you can say, hey, I want it back. I want to do something else with it. You have that option. And in some cases, depending on the deal, some deals are in perpetuity, so it ain't coming back. So you need to be aware of that when you're signing your publishing deals. So Sharon Soul just became a member. Shout out to Sharon, a member of Team Dope. Appreciate you, Sharon. I need the watermelon. That's what I'm saying. I need the watermelon. Give me the watermelon. What program do you use most when making a track? It's Team Logic all day. Logic. Yo, I don't know if y'all seen this the short I posted a couple days ago. Timberland was on Producer Grind podcast. Shout out to them. Shout out to Tim. Shout out to Producer Grind podcast. Mad respect for everybody in this interview. However, Timbaland made this very, very strong statement about Logic, and he was just like, Logic is only good for vocals. And it ripped my heart into pieces to hear Timbaland say something like this. And I disagree, man. Respectfully, I disagree. Logic is Logic is a great all-around dog. Now, me personally, I actually don't like the cut vocals in Logic, mostly for like just technical reasons, not necessarily because of how it sounds. I think they sound fine in Logic, but technically, I just don't like. I don't know. Like, maybe I'm just super used to cutting vocals in Pro Tools, the workflow in Pro Tools, but it just seems like better and smoother in the recording and editing process for me in Pro Tools. So, but as far as production and Logic, it's packed with tools, man. Like, you can do what you need to do. I think it's a dope dog. So I thought that was funny. Radium Records, I know you're a Logic user. Silliest statement ever. I know, man. It was crazy. It was, I was like, he knows he triggered an entire community. It was so funny. I couldn't believe it. Patty P said it hurt her too. I know people who make hella fire on Logic. Yeah, I mean, Logic's dope. And I mean, whatever you use at the end of the day, if you know what you're doing with the thing, you make it sound dope. Like, people making beats on iPhones and iPads and all types of stuff, man. Heck, I just seen a clip. They were doing like some sound design stuff. They're doing like stumps and claps, not using feet, floor, or hands. Like, it was dope though. Like, it sounded amazing. Like, he was using like a bucket of just random things inside it for the claps. He was just taking like, it was like a I don't know, those things that it's like wood. It's like a square piece of wood with wheels that you use to move things. It's not like a dolly, but it's like, I don't know. It's a bunch of 2x4s glued together, nailed together on wheels. And he was just taking that and like beating it against the stage, and that sounded like a stump. It was fire. So I use Logic for beats and Pro Tools for vocals. Yeah, I'm the same way, man. Now I will mix vocals in Logic. Like, if somebody cut them and I'm just dragging them in there, I'll do that. But if I'm recording and editing and comping and all that stuff, I'm going over to Pro Tools for that. I just like it. I like it a lot. Chris Justice, I appreciate it. Logic is the best. This is a fact here on this channel. Logic is the best. So Team Pro Tools, I'm not mad at you. I used to produce in Pro Tools, like, making beats. It was a horrible experience though. Like, it was like MIDI things that would annoy me. I had a lot of frustrating moments trying to make beats in Pro Tools. But I learned about Logic and I never looked back. LW says, what does Timbaland know? What has he accomplished? Listen, I mean, you can't argue with his accomplishments, but we will argue on Logic only being good for vocals. So I don't know, LW is crazy. Studio One, I rock with Studio One. I used Studio One for a stretch of time, and it was cool. It was cool. I mean, I didn't have a lot of gripes about it. Only thing I didn't like was how the like where you put your plug-in instances and inserts and stuff like that and effects. I didn't like how that was kind of set up. Like, in Pro Tools and Logic, like, everything is just on this one strip, so it's like there's no, hit this little, this dial to make it expand, and then no, it was just this right there. Like, I like everything just right there. But yeah, but Studio One was dope, and I think you could like import shortcuts, like your Pro Tools shortcuts and things like that inside of Studio One, and kind of really customize it how you want. And I did that for a minute, so it was cool. I am Pro Tools 100%, and I even think Logic is great as well. They are tools. Yeah, exactly. Reason and MPC gang. I'm not mad at it. You can use Serato Studio if you know what you're doing, man. Anything, man. So, yeah. Are there any notable steps as it concerns doing taxes when bigger checks start rolling in? That's a great topic. Taxes. So with any money that comes in your production business, I personally like to take out 25%, set it aside for taxes. Now, by the time my CPA and they get done doing everything, I'm not gonna have to pay that entire 25% that I've been putting off in a year, but I'm still gonna set it aside because I don't want no surprises. I'd rather have it and not have to pay it than to have to pay it and not have it. So every time you get paid, boom, shave that 25% off, put it in a savings account, label it taxes, and then don't touch it until it's time to do or pay taxes. Hopefully, you don't have to pay a lot of taxes. So that's my rule of thumb. Now, a lot of times you're gonna have to fill out like a W-9. I think if you make, what's the threshold? Like, if a company pays you like $600 or more or something like that, I can't remember. Don't quote me on that. I can't remember, but you have to, they have to 1099 you pretty much. You have to fill out a W-9 form, and then when it's close to tax time, you get a 1099 form, and then you file that. And that 1099 is basically them saying like, yo, we paid this dude or this gal some money. Listen, we ain't responsible for paying taxes. That's on them now. If you're working, so sometimes I will work on projects, and say I pull some writers in, right? And there's an upfront budget, and it could go two ways. So if the publisher pays me, they're like, yo, we're gonna give Clint everything, and then Clint will pay everybody from what he got paid. Either I have to pay the taxes on everything that the publisher paid me, even though I paid everybody else. Like, I would still be responsible tax wise for that whole amount that they paid me, unless I have the other writers that I also cut off a portion of that, had them fill out a W-9, and then filed 1099s for them. So then they would get a 1099 saying Clint Productions paid them a certain amount of money. Then I wouldn't be responsible for their portions of what came out of that lump sum. Or I could just tell the publisher, hey, shoot them their own paperwork, let them do what they need to do, and then you can just pay them directly. So I've done it both ways. So probably the least complicated way is to just have the publisher pay them separately, but sometimes it's just easier. And sometimes if you make the publisher's job easier, it's just they like that. So sometimes I've done it that way. It was just like, yo, just pay me, I'll pay everybody else, and then I'll handle the tax stuff from there. So but yeah, that's usually how I do it. And then, matter of fact, man, I need to do my taxes, like, for real. I need to end this stream and focus on that. I procrastinate like every year. Like, I will literally wait until April and then start. It's so many 1099s, like, it's insane. But it has to be done. But by the time tax season comes around, like, I've accumulated receipts for everything I've bought for the studio, for the business, software, plugins, computers, cameras, lights, like everything I use all the time is like, it's tax deductible. So I save the receipts, and then by the time all that stuff gets added up, spending money on ads, like the websites. Like by the time all that stuff adds up, mileage for events and trips and stuff like that. We're going to NAMM next week, so like that entire trip is going to be deductible because it's for business. So by the time all that adds up, I'm usually getting money back. So that's how you want to do it. Like, I mean, if it works out that way, if you have enough expenses or whatever, but you want to get that tax bill down like to as zero as much as you can, because as a business, I mean, there's tax incentives for being a business and an investor. So if you know the tax code and you got people on your team that keep that stuff organized for you and know what are some of the credits and things that you qualify for, then you save money on paying taxes. Because listen, man, like I'm not trying to give the IRS like 5 figures in taxes. Like we work hard for this. So that's how I do it. So let's see. May have to try Pro Tools for that. I use Logic for vocals. Yeah, it's dope. I like it. Kim Durr in the building. What's up, Kim? Cubase. Not really. I mean, I used it like once when that was before I moved to Atlanta. I was in Ohio working on a project. And the studio there, he used Cubase. It was all right. He knew it better than I did. I was looking at that like, I mean, it's familiar. Like it looks like, it's familiar, but I'm not efficient in it or anything. Fruity Loops makes classics. Hey, I mean, I guess we got to wait and see, because it's fairly new. Like I think a lot of people started hopping on FL. Like I didn't know anything about it for real until like my freshman year in college, and I might have been like mad late to the party because I was on GarageBand at that time. So I don't know. All right, let's see. Let's dig into some more questions. Can you release the songs you give to a library on Spotify? I know that you have to avoid YouTube, but other platforms are okay. It depends, because some companies they'll release like a production music album on Spotify and stuff. So I would ask them before you do it, or tell them that you did do it. Like if you're pitching music that's already been released, let them know, see how they feel about it, and they'll let you know how to go from there. So yeah, Madhouse Pro, what's up? Shout out to the new people in the stream, man. Let me know where you guys are from and what you do. Drop your questions in the chat if you have a question. Lamar says best place for your music playlist. Disco. If you don't want to pay for disco every month, like if you're just getting started, you're like, I'd rather do something free for now. That's what I did. Then use box.com. It'll get the job done. I use disco. I like disco. So yeah. How do you keep track of all your receipts? That's another annoying thing about business. So I have like a pile of receipts under this mat right here. That's how I keep track of them. Nah, but I got stuff that I got to take pictures of. So this is what I do. Right? So I buy something. If I buy it on the computer on Amazon, I just take a screenshot of it. So I create a folder in my Google Drive. I name it 2023 receipts. So I screenshot it. If it's a paper receipt, I'll take a picture of it, upload it straight to that Google Drive folder, and then just leave it there. That's it. So I do that with all my receipts. Sometimes stuff gets busy, like these 25 receipts that are over here on the table. So I'll go back, catch up, and take a picture of it, and then put it in there. Just so I'll have it. So like if anything happened, IRS was just like, yo, let's make sure everything adds up right. Everything is where it needs to be, and then, they could do whatever they need to do. Now I also use an app that keeps track of, let me see if I can find it. It keeps track of my income and receipts. It's called Hurdler. And what it does is you can connect your business bank account to it. You can connect your business credit cards to it. And that's what I do. Like I'll connect my bank, and then I'll connect like any business credit cards that I use. So then every time something comes off of that, then it'll go into this app, and then you can set up to where you can categorize whatever it is. And it'll show you the amount. You can set up rules. So like if you want something to automatically, like say it's gas or something like that, you like every time I go to BP, I want it to categorize as gas. It can automatically do it. You create a rule and it just sends it, and you don't have to worry about it. The stuff that it doesn't know what to do, it just sits in this little waiting thing, and then you can just swipe it right if it's business, swipe it left if it's personal. And then at the end of the year, like when it's time to do taxes, it can create a report for you. So you have like all the stuff. Like sometimes it matches up. Sometimes it's like weird. You have to kind of like go in and make sure stuff is right before you send it to whoever does your taxes. But it gives you like, different reports and stuff and on what you spent for certain expenses and things like that. So I've been using that for, man, I don't know, like past 5 years or so. And it's been pretty cool. Yeah, and then I just save the receipts so that I always have them. So yeah. Did you start with Cakewalk or Cool Edit Pro? I remember Cool Edit Pro. I never used it personally, but I had a cousin who was using that joint. But no, I started with technically I started with a Casio keyboard, and then I got GarageBand. And then it was Casio keyboard and GarageBand for a long time, and then I upgraded and got a Motif. So then it was Motif and GarageBand. Then it was Motif and Pro Tools. Then it transitioned into Pro Tools and Reason, doing the Reason rewire thing sometimes. And then I got hip to Logic. So then it was like Logic. It was Logic and Reason and Pro Tools sometimes. And then I dropped Reason, and then it's just been Logic and Pro Tools. And with an exception of that stint, I worked in Studio One. So yeah, now it's just Logic and Pro Tools. I also tried Ableton once. Epic fail for me. No, I'm not gonna even say that because I don't know if I'm gonna take the time to learn it. But yeah. All right, let's see what other questions we have. Have you ever used Motu Digital Performer? I have not. I used to have a Motu audio interface though, which was dope. It was a Track 16. That joint was solid, man. Like it had really nice preamps. The only reason I got rid of it is because I got the SSL2 Plus, which is really dope too. But Motu makes some solid stuff. So yeah, from Chicago, relocated to ATL, music producer, engineer. I get into some of everything. Dope. That's what's up. Business credit card, good for that. Yeah, indeed. You can also use one business credit card, then just print the statement. Yeah, I've heard mixed things on that. My CPA, she says no. She's like, keep the receipt, because they don't like to risk it. They want the solid proof. So I've heard mixed reviews, but definitely consult a professional. So let me see. What's good? Garvey in the building. Vex E, I see you. How far back can a person claim taxes on items for the music studio if the person didn't file any claim on those purchases? That's a good question. That's a question for a tax professional. I don't know if you can. I don't know. So yeah. So you got to be, for example, if you had a business meeting and you guys went for lunch, right? and that, you know, you use your business credit card for that lunch. Yeah, it shows up on your statement, but there's no info. And sometimes it'll just say like, I don't know, if you got a restaurant and there's like a smaller restaurant and they use Square, that joint will just say like Square. It may say the restaurant's name, but there's no information on what qualifies that lunch as a business lunch. So anytime I do a business lunch or dinner or whatever, I'll take the receipt. On the receipt, I'll write, you know, business meeting with the person I sat down and ate with, and what we talked about, you know, during that business meeting or lunch or whatever. And then I'll take a picture of that. So then, you know, you got the receipt and you have proof of like, you know, this is who I had lunch with. This is what we talked about marketing or sync licensing or negotiating a deal, like whatever it is. It's documented, and it's going to be harder to argue with versus just seeing Cheesecake Factory, you know, $106 on a statement. You know what I'm saying? Like that could have been, you know, you and your kids just, you know, at Cheesecake Factory smashing. So that's how I do it with the you know, with things like that. And the dope thing I like about, I don't using like a business credit card like an Amex, like I don't use like anything directly connected to my bank account, because if anything happened, you know, somebody got a hold of the credit card information. This actually happened before too. It happened with the credit card though. If it's connected directly to your bank and they just spending, and it's out of your like checking account, your business checking account, like you have to wait until the bank like investigates that before you get that back sometimes. And you don't know how long that is. And if you got expenses to pay or you got people to pay and like they just ripped you off and just start draining money out your account, like you're in a different situation that I would not want to be in. So with using my business credit card, that gives me like that layer of protection, because if they do that with the credit card, it's like, yo, I just call Amex, like, yo, somebody is fraudulent stuff going on, shut the card down. They'll shut it down. They'll refund me the fraudulent charges, send me a new card out in like a day, and then I'm good. Like I never lost actual money. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's kind of like a protection thing. And then on top of that, I get the points for stuff that I have to spend for the business anyway. So now, you know, we got a free flight or hotel, or use the points for like, you know, whatever else we need for stuff that, you know, that I was gonna have to buy and pay for anyway, just from regular expenses. So that's why I like to use this a business credit card instead of like, you know, the debit card that they'll give you with their business checking account, because that can be risky if somebody gets a hold of that joint and decides they want to be fraudulent. So yeah, checking in. Road to 10 Placements user, originally from Cincinnati, Ohio, relocated to Miami. Shout out to Ohio, and shout out to the Road to 10 Placements gang. That's what's up, man. Hopefully the course is helping. I love it. Love to see it. We keep all of our receipts and have labeled, organized containers and separate every receipt every day as we come in. I ain't mad at it, man. Like, cause they can't come for you. Like when you come out with the buckets of receipts and folders, it's like, look, I've been keeping track very, very well. You're prepared. I have all my receipts going back a few years. I keep a paper, PDF, printed receipts of those purchases. I like to keep something physical if something happened. I'm not mad at that either. I keep a monthly financial statement and try to keep things digital for record purposes. I love it, man. Y'all about y'all's business. I can go back 10 years plus based on the credit card I used to buy music items. Man, how did you build business credit? So that's something I'm still like in the process of doing, as far as like the Dun and Bradstreet, Dunn's number. So Dun and Bradstreet is like, you know, that's where your business credit profile is built, I guess. They report it to Dun and Bradstreet, and then that's how they see, like, if you borrow money just in the business name, or apply for some credit only in your business name or in the business name, and then maybe you co-sign as a personal guarantor or whatever. That's what they look at. So you have to first go to Dun & Bradstreet, apply for a DUNS number. It's free. They try and upsell you on like a bunch of random services, but it's free to do. But you get that, and then you can so a lot of business credit cards don't report to Dun & Bradstreet, which you would think business credit cards report to business credit. Doesn't. Like, a lot of them don't. But if you use something like like uline.com, and you do, like, instead of paying for, I don't know, some packs of tape or something, or extension cords, like whatever you buy for your office, if you pay using net 30, basically that's just saying, hey, this is the stuff I want. You put the order in, you don't pay anything, but you get 30 days to pay it. So as long as you pay it within 30 days, they shoot you the invoice, you pay it as it gets closer to that 30 days. And then if you keep doing that, that starts to build your business credit. There's also a couple credit cards that you can get, or in lines of credit you can get. One of them is, man, I'm just giving y'all everything today. Let's just talk about credit, taxes, and business stuff. One of them is Divvy. Making sure my card number ain't showing. Divvy. They have they report to Dun & Bradstreet. DIVVY. So I have like an expense, or some, you put some expenses that comes out on this card every month, and then I just have it auto pay every month, so I don't like miss a payment, because you don't want that to show up on your credit. So that's like on autopilot. The thing about this is, like, it has to be paid off every month. So, like, it's not like a regular credit card. It's like a line of credit. So you have to make sure that's paid off every month, or you'll start seeing a bunch of high interest. So I do that. And then another one is, which I don't have that one in here. Another one is Capital on Tap. And Capital on Tap does the same thing. They report to business credit, and it's kind of like the same thing. And those are pretty cool too, because they kind of have like expense tracking and stuff kind of built in, and you can create like employee cards and all that stuff if you got multiple people that's managing something. Maybe you got somebody, I don't know, running ads for you or something, and you need them to charge something. But yeah. So those are a couple cards I use to kind of build business credit. And then you could buy a car, like if you're buying a business car or something that you're going to primarily use for business, or at least a little, like over 50% for business. You could put the car in your business name and then co-sign personally for it. That is going to report on both the business and your personal credit, but that could help build it as well. But if you do it that way, the interest is going to be a lot higher if you finance the car, because it's a business. It's in the business's name, so the interest rates are going to be a little bit higher for that. But that's another way to do it. And then just getting like lines of credit from different companies that kind of help you do that. What's up, JP? I think they changed that to UBI number. The federal government has transitioned from the use of the DUNS number to the unique entity identifier as the primary means of entity identification for federal awards government-wise. Oh, that I don't know what that's about. I'm gonna have to check it out. So yeah. But maybe that's different from credit, where I had just heard DUNS, then heard it change. Yeah, no, I'm not sure. I know the DUN stuff is still around, because that's there. But yeah. Do you have family that makes music? Absolutely. I have a lot of family that is musically inclined. shoot, who doesn't do something musically, man? I got uncles who are musicians, drummers, keyboardists, singers. Dad was a drummer. He tries to sing. Now, he tries to sing sometimes. Mom sings. She can even play keys a little bit. It's a little old school. She can do it. She need to do it. Need somebody to hold down a nice little gospel church service for you. My grandma played organ, piano. I got cousins. I got a cousin who's a drummer here in ATL, super dope drummer, producer. He can play keys a little bit. Let me see. Got cousins who sing, aunts. Like, yeah, it's music is in the family. You can definitely say that. So yeah. I got my little brother. Matter of fact, me and my little brother just did a sports track that we pitched to CBS Sports. I need to check in on that. So if that gets placed, that's going to be his first TV placement. So he just got back into like production and stuff like that. So he's been doing his thing and learning and coming up. My sister plays guitar. So I need to hit her up for some loops. So yeah, man, it's a lot of us musically inclined people in this family on both sides. Lamar has 3 brothers who play, 2 basses and 1 guitarist. Wow. That's what's up. Oh yeah, man. It's in there. It's really hard to to stay away from it. So yeah, my dad was the best bass player in Chicago. God rest his soul. Man, that's what's up. Rest in peace. Yeah, man. Like that. I mean, that's where it all started. Like, I mean, I grew up and it was a drum set in the house. So I started on drums when I was like 4, and then from there, started playing keys like around 15, 16, around the same. I started playing keys around the same time I started getting into production. So, and then the keys really took off for me. I started obsessing about it. Learned a lot. Had learned from a lot of dope keyboard players throughout college, and that's become like kind of like my main instrument. So yeah. Indeed. Huge musical heritage in my family, especially my dad's side of the family. Super dope. You can hear it too. So yeah. Yep, we was definitely always around music in some way, shape, or form. And still to this day. And then my wife's dad. So this is crazy. Like, I don't think I ever told y'all this. What time is it? I feel like I've been talking for like 2 hours. So my wife's family knows my family, like on my dad's side. They like grew up together. I didn't even know. I didn't meet my wife until college. But come to find out, like her and my cousins, like they all grew up together. Her dad played bass, and they used to record in the studio with some of my aunts and stuff like back in the day. So they used to like work on music together. I had no idea. My wife plays violin too. But yeah, I had no idea. So we didn't figure that out. Well, I met her through my cousin. So like I knew they knew each other, but then after like meeting her parents and then talking to them, I'm like, oh snap, like y'all already fam. So by the time like we got together, I bring her around the fam during Thanksgiving and Chris, they already know each other. I'm like, yo, like I don't need to introduce you. Like they already know you. They watched you grow up. So it was real easy to kind of transition my wife into the fam because they already knew her. So that was interesting. It's 2:57 Central Time. Okay, we got a couple more minutes. Let me see if I can knock out another question. Afro pop. I think Afro pop is licensable as long as there's a need for it. For sure. Vex E, similar to mine, my dad and his sibs used to sing gospel a long time ago. I have a cousin that is a jazz singer, had a relative, rest in peace, that played HB3 organ, Hammond B3 long ago. I love it. Nothing like a good old B3. That's exactly how my family is. My father's family grew up with my mother's family. My mother wrote songs for the band my dad was in. That's crazy. Yeah, so it's funny how stuff like that works out, man. And then it's just like, yo, like how did we not meet though? It's crazy. Because if we would have met, like if we would have knew each other growing up, like we wouldn't be married. Like we'd be like annoying cousins or something. Like, so it worked out. It worked out. What time is the review tonight? Great segue. 9 p.m. Eastern. We'll be back here 9 p.m. Eastern reviewing music, seeing if it's ready for TV and film. So if you ain't doing nothing tonight, come through, kick it with us, and we're going to listen to some music. We're going to hang out. We're going to laugh. Patty may run, just depending on what's going on. But, yeah, definitely come back. If you need links to anything, it's in the description. Links to the Rollington Placements course or how to structure instrumentals for TV, or if you want to become a channel member. Like all the stuff, the links is in the description, so hit that. Also, today is the last day that you can use this discount code. So if you hit the links, any of the links in the description for digital courses for producers, make sure you use this code. I'm about to give it to you. Are y'all ready? Make sure you write it down because this is the last day to use it, and then it's going to expire. It is VIP and the number 30. Excuse me. So use the code VIP30. So all like everything on Clint University, Rollington Placements, how to structure instrumentals, mix and made simple, sync producer growth pack, like all of that stuff, you can get 30% off if you use that code today. So take advantage of that before it expires. And that's it, man. I'm gonna catch you guys tonight, and then we just gonna hang out, man. So peace.